Hey there, welcome to Live by Design, the place where I hope you'll find content that is informative, inspiring, and insightful. I'm your host, Mwadi Debinga. I'm a life strategist and a motivational speaker, and today is Wednesday, February 7th, 2018. How you doing? Hope all is well with you and that you had a great weekend. I did. I had a good time, taught some yoga classes, and hung out a little bit with my nephew and nieces, and we had a lot of fun. Today, I want to talk about the Super Bowl game. Now, I'm going to tell you straight out, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I didn't see anything I saw none of it. I don't watch sports. And the reason is that I'm extremely competitive and I find sporting events to be extremely stressful. And I always inevitably end up feeling sorry for the people that lose. I watch these games and I see people giving them, they give their heart, they give everything that they've got, and somebody has to lose. And I just lose and I just feel sorry for them. So I didn't watch it. I don't watch sports. I used to watch basketball when Michael Jordan was playing for the Bulls, but that's because I lived in Atlanta and Chicago at the time, or Evanston, Illinois. And, you had to watch the Bulls back then. Plus, it was Michael Jordan. Who wasn't watching? But anyway, even though I didn't watch the game, I did hear a lot of the commentary pregame that I thought was very interesting, very telling, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. I was listening to the Russ Parr Morning Show a couple of days before the game, and they have a sports commentator who always gives his picks, who's going to win this fight or this game, and he came out for the Eagles, and they clowned him. I mean, Russ Parr and the rest of those folks just clowned him royally because they were like, oh no, the Patriots are going to get it. Tom Brady and them are going to, they're going to have it. It's going to be theirs. Some people, not on that show, but other shows I had heard were saying the Eagles, they shouldn't even bother to suit up because it's a, foregone conclusion. They're going to lose, blah, 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 blah. And, well, here we see what happened. The Eagles won. And it shocked a lot of people. It surprised a lot of people because statistically, they were not expected to win. Statistically, everybody thought that Tom Brady and the Patriots were going to just, sweep up the floor with them. And again, I didn't see the game. It could have been a close game. There could have been a big fumble or something that turned everything around. I don't know. All I know is that the Eagles won. And had they listened to, right, folks who were like, oh, they shouldn't show up, they would have came and maybe just phoned it in. Right? But they showed up despite all the statistics, despite all the naysayers and the poo-pooers, right, who thought that they didn't have a chance and etc. They showed up, they took the field, and they won. And I wanted to talk about that because I think it's a powerful lesson for those of us who are not football players, for all those of us who are trying to dominate our own lane, who are trying to just come up higher and excel in our own areas, whether that be as consultants, as speakers, as parents, as teachers. There are always going to be times when statistically, from the outside looking in, we look like the underdog. And while people in your corner, supposedly in your corner, might suggest that you not even try, that you not even bother to suit up. It's critically important for those of us who want to achieve any type of a success, as we defined it, in whatever realm we're looking at, whatever realm we're sort of struggling or striving in, that we make sure that no matter what the statistics look like, we continue to show up. We continue to suit up, come forward, take the field, do our best, and maybe leave the outcome in somebody else's hands. I always say that our behavior and our attitude, those are our responsibilities. Outcome, that might be in somebody else's hands. That might be in the hands of the divine. But we have to, those of us who are trying to really do good things, whether you're trying to build a business, go back to school, build a family, repair a family, be a leader in your community, whatever that thing is, there are going to be times when you don't always feel like you are the most competent person in the room or the most skilled person in the room or the most experienced person in the running, maybe for a contract. But if you don't show up and put your best foot forward, you will never know. Case in point, years ago, back in the 80s, when I first started working in Atlanta, I was up for a position as the associate director. Initially, the title was Community Relations Manager for the Southern Center for Human Rights. It's a public interest law firm that does fabulous work. They're still open today. And I went for this position, even though when I looked at it on paper, it was advertised in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, I think it's called. There were some skills, a lot of the skills I didn't have. Let's just be truthful. I didn't have them. I had quite a few of them, but there were some things in terms of writing and doing newsletters and things like that that I had never done before. But I knew in my mind that if I was just given a chance, that I could really excel in this position. So I applied for the job. My sister Musa really encouraged me because I shared my concerns with her. I applied for the job. I went in, and the interview, of course, they asked me, have you ever done a newsletter before? And I was like, no, I haven't, but I'm pretty confident that I could get one done. And I knew that when I said that, I could see Steve's face sort of, he made a little bit of a face, which made me kind of think he was doubting me, or maybe I had lost the interview. But I wanted to be honest, because, don't be lying in no interviews, because that can come up to bite you in the butt. So I was like, no, I've never done one before, but I was pretty confident that I could do one. We had the interview. I met a couple other people. I went home. I went straight to my computer, got on my desktop. I opened up, it was a Microsoft Publisher, the early version, so there weren't a whole lot of bells and whistles on it. And I sat there using a little templates, and I made a newsletter. I went online and looked at some other places to see what newsletters looked like. I had a couple, that I had collected just for my own information, and I put one together. I gave it a name. I put the address. I put the edition, all that stuff you put in the masthead. And the lead story was Southern Center for Human Rights hires Mwadi Dibinga as its first community relations manager. And I wrote this long article about all the things that I accomplished in that position. And then I put a nice little quote from Steve Bright, the guy who interviewed me, about how great it was, how wonderful it was to have me on staff, and it was the best decision they ever made, and etc. So I put it together. I printed it out. It was blue and white because that's the only ink that I had. And I put it in an envelope with my thank you letter. I still write thank you letters. And I took it in. I gave it to the secretary, and I said, thank you for interviewing me, and I went off and I got it. And they hired me. And after they hired me and I started working, because I'm nosy, I found the resumes of the other people who had applied for that exact same position. And as I had suspected, most of them were much more skilled than I was in the area of like desktop publishing and that type of stuff. I had good fundraising experience, but in that particular area, which I knew was something that they were really looking for, I wasn't I wasn't at the top. But when I asked Steve later, my boss, why did you hire me? Because I like to get feedback. He said it's because of that newsletter. Not because it was so sophisticated looking, because it wasn't, but because he knew I had told him that I couldn't do one, but that I would do one, and that I went home and showed that level of hustle and that level of passion. And he said that's the kind of person that he wanted in that position. And I stayed there for 5 years, and I did some absolutely incredible things. And since then, that was back in the 80s, there have been several other times when I've almost not gone for something because I thought that the contract was beyond me or beyond my skill set. I like to push myself and give myself what I call, we call them, I think, stretch assignments, right? Where you have to push yourself and come up and learn new skills. And I do that on my own as a consultant, running my own business. It's my responsibility, right, to make sure that I'm continuously growing. But there have been times I got a contract with TJX, parent company to TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and Marshalls. Almost didn't go for it. My brother Omekingo said, why not do it? Went for it, got it. There was a global health organization that was looking for somebody to do a strategic planning around diversity and inclusion and a whole bunch of training. I knew I could do it, but I also knew that there were other people that they were looking at who maybe had more traditional skill sets in that area. Almost didn't go for it. My sister said, Wadi, if not you, why not? Boom, went for it and I got it. I don't always get everything I get most things, but I don't always get everything that I go after. But the thing is, I do go after everything that I want. Sometimes I don't feel that confident, so I have to confide in, my people so that I can get that extra push. We talked last week about how, when your old self shows up, right, that old insecure self or that unsure self, how it's important to, show up anyway and do the work. Well, when I'm going for contracts that I think might be beyond my scale or my scope or my experience, I always, bounce the ideas off of people who I trust, who really encourage me just to go for it. Because if you don't go for it, what you automatically lose. If the Eagles did not show up, they would have lost automatically. All the people who told them, they shouldn't bother to suit up, the game's going to be whacked, da 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 da. If they had it in them or had the choice to just not show up and they didn't, they wouldn't have gotten the ring, the first ring in franchise history. Right? If I didn't show up in all these places where I didn't always feel confident, where I didn't always feel like I had everything all zipped up and lined up, a lot of things that I got, I would have missed out on. And there are a couple of things that I didn't get, but that was okay. The process of creating the proposal, the process of reading background information to expand my knowledge in those particular areas changed me and gave me more information to use for my existing clients. So what can we learn from the Eagles? And I know if you're a Pats fan, I'm sorry. I'm from Boston. Please don't call me, tell me that I'm being a traitor or anything like that. That's not what this is about. This is about learning from this sort of David and Goliath picture that we just saw. Sometimes when the odds don't look like they're in your favor, or it looks like you're automatically not going to win because you're the underdog, we still have to muster up the strength and the courage to show up anyway and get the extra resources, the extra knowledge, the extra skill sets that we need to maximize our chances of having success in an area, in an arena where other people are looking at us. Maybe we're looking at ourselves thinking that we don't have this together, that we're not the best. If the Eagles were a person and they listened to all the naysayers and the poo-pooers and stayed home, they would not be on their way to Disney World right now, right? As we speak, they wouldn't be having a parade for them and all of the success that they're experiencing and the joy and the sense of satisfaction if they had listened to the people, like the people on the Russ Parr show and some other folks saying, oh, the Patriots got it, they shouldn't even bother to show up, it's going to be a blowout, it's going to be a washout, blah, 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 blah. So what I want to encourage you to do, what I encourage myself to do continuously is show up. Show up for the jobs, show up for the contracts, show up for the relationships, show up for the different challenges that you can visualize in your mind that will help you grow yourself. If you're trying to grow your business, if you're trying to save a relationship or start a relationship, you're trying to go back to school, you're trying to, be a better parent, and you might think that you're inadequate. You may think that there's somebody next to you or in front of you or behind you who has more skills than you do, or who's younger than you are, or who's stronger than you are, or who has more networks, all the things that we tell ourselves to sort of take us out of the game. When you find yourself in those situations, find the courage to suit up and show up anyway. If the Eagles had stayed home, there'd be no ring. If I had stayed home, if I had not pushed myself, there's so many positive and powerful personal and professional relationships, experiences that I would have missed out on because I didn't allow myself the freedom to try. I didn't allow myself the leeway to be okay with failing if it came to pass that I would fail. And I have failed at many things in my life. Too many to go into right now. But my point is, I did try. And so I don't have that regret, right, burning in my throat. I don't have that regret burning in my gut because I didn't try. Show up. When you don't show up, you lose automatically. You get nothing, right? You don't even get any type of recognition for giving it your best try. You just sit in your corner in the comfort of your comfort zone, slowly decaying with all the courage and all the joy and all the power that you came into this world with going to waste and not being used. But when you show up, whether you win or lose, it changes you, it transforms you, it pushes you, it makes you into something different. Even if the Eagles didn't show up, even if the Eagles didn't win, they're just showing up and being in that space for the first time, having the opportunity, getting that close to get a championship. It would have changed them as a team. Even if they didn't win, it would change their fans. And even if they didn't win, right? So what I want to share with you is show up anyway. It doesn't matter if it looks like the world is against you or the stats aren't stacked in your favor. You are not a statistic, right? Your probabilities are not limited or defined by probability. You are a human being with purpose and potential and power. And so I challenge you, I encourage you, show up. Don't talk yourself out of doing something that you want to do because you think you're not ready or because you don't think you have what it takes. At least go out and try and get the facts. I'm always telling my nephews and nieces, leave the storytelling to Mother Goose. You go forward with facts. Go out and try anyway. And then the information that you get from the effort of trying, that will help you figure out your next step. Because maybe you will win and you'll be golden. Maybe you won't win and you might have to tweak your strategy. You might have to try something new. Maybe give up the dream. Maybe it's not for you. Who knows? But you won't know until you try. So the lesson from the Eagles, the lesson from this last Super Bowl that I didn't watch, but I've heard so much about is show up, suit up, show up, and get on the field. It does not matter what other people say. If other people don't see it for you, that's fine. They don't have to see it for you. See it for yourself. If the statistics don't see it for you, see it for yourself. If the commentators and the naysayers and the poo-pooers and your crew, if they don't see it for you, see it for yourself. And find some folks who are going to hold you up while you try something new. If you don't show up, if you don't try, you automatically lose. So why not try? Let's take that lesson from this last championship, right? David versus Goliath. David won. I saw a caption, somebody wrote, dog eats goat. In other words, underdog dog eats the greatest of all time. And I'm not getting into the rivalry with the Patriots and people hating on Tom Brady and blah 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 blah. My point is that no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, no matter what color jersey you wear, this is a powerful lesson for all of us. So what I encourage you between now and the next time I see you, as always, look at your goals, look at your life, look at what you're asking of yourself, and look at what you have set out to do this year. And whether or not you think that the odds are in your favor, or whether you think that there's somebody else who's smarter, prettier, or whatever than you are, try to find a way to push forward and try anyway. Because if you don't show up, you lose automatically. But if you do show up, you might just get your ring. All right? That's my message. I hope it was helpful to you. Share with me your thoughts. Share with me an experience where maybe you went for something that you didn't think was in your league or was maybe out of reach and you got it anyway, so that I can be inspired by you, so that others can be inspired by you as well. All right? I will see you all soon, this time next week. In the meantime, take care of yourself and the people that you love and get on the field.